Straight to the loo. Straight to the loo. St. Lunatics, how many pair you need? How many? So what? Okay. All right, I think that's it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Pod is good. And all the time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you about to find out. We are in episode 9 of the show. Happy to have y'all here. Another incredible show on deck for today. My guy is already in the studio, tuning in, already here from Chi-Town. Now, he ain't from Chi-Town, but that's where he resides right now. You've seen him before. You've heard him before. I've given him a grand introduction, but please, just in case you missed the first episode, just in case you were somewhere under a rock and you missed it, my guy is lyricist, aficionado. He is an actor within every sense of the term. He has an incredible sense of humor. He's a spiritual man. He's an intellectual. He is a modern day Renaissance guy. And he's definitely one of my friends, and I call him my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, back into the studio here on the Pod is Good podcast. Please welcome EdVanzd.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, my guy? Pod is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
Pod is good.
Welcome back. Everybody's been talking about you coming back. I got a few messages, talking about y'all didn't really get into music. Y'all didn't say nothing about CNE. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. We were trying to touch on so many things in such a short amount of time that yes, I agree. We kind of glossed over some of the foundational things so that people know that you know what I'm saying, where you come from, what you do, your background, as well as our background. So in this episode, I kind of wanted to build a better foundation so that people understand the legend in which they are speaking with or listening to right now, because they just may not know. You know what I'm saying? That's the world moves like this. I could spit out a battle rap name, and there's plenty of people that are listening that have never heard of them, yet this person may have 50 million view battles.
Right.
Because that's the world we live in. There's so many people. There's so much dominant talent, and there's so much individual celebrity on this planet right now that, like, you can have somebody that's incredibly that guy like you, and they just don't know. They just don't know. You can't fault them for not knowing. You know what I'm saying? Right. So as we try to let it simmer this time and build that foundation.
Yes, sir.
Tell the people a little bit about EdVanzd and where he came from. I don't know how far back you want to go. You want to just talk entertainment? I don't know what you want to touch on, but if you had to give somebody that solid elevator speech, who you are, where you come from, so they at least know a little bit about your background.
Gotcha. Well, when your mama and daddy love each other and they get to okay. All right, let's not go that far back. Let's
not all the way to the tweets and bzz, bzz. We ain't gotta go. We ain't gotta go all the way
there. I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, right across the bridge from St. Louis, Missouri. Those are my brothers and sisters right there. Man, I grew up in a lot of places because I was a military brat, but mainly East St. Louis. Every time we came, we brought it right back there. And that's where I started my journey of film and music and theater and all of that. I started, spitting when I was 5, actually. When I was 5, had a first little, man. I had my first little regional hit when I was 9. I was very proud of myself. It was called I Dare You, based on the DARE education program, the drug abuse resistant education.
Come on, man. Do not tell us you don't remember some of the bars. Give us something.
Man, I
Come
don't
on.
remember squat. I have no idea, bro. I have no idea.
I
But
can just imagine you doing the dare rap with like the D. Don't ever try. I can just see you breaking it all down.
bro, I had a skit and everything that
Oh my
preceded it. I
gosh.
had the two cats. They met. They did the exchange and everything. And I come and I break it up. I was getting my Grandmaster Flash Melly Mel
You
on.
was
I was like
already
pitiful,
on that.
pitiful, pitiful. We did talk to anyway,
You
but
was already on that. Love it.
yeah, man.
Love it.
So yeah, I started there and got into theater
Mm.
and started the Catherine Dunham Center actually was my theater home, and that honed my craft as far as performance and being intentional whenever I perform to try to say something and try to move
Yeah.
the audience in some kind of way.
Mm.
And I grew from there to started doing movies and making music and started writing for other artists and whatnot. So that came in handy a lot
Yeah. Yeah.
with connections and whatnot, and had a few little go rounds of things, and
Nice.
started a series which you're aware of, the Fire Flow Fridays, that kind of did well for me, took off, and introduced me to a whole new audience, and and just been growing from there.
And I would like to say that, to my understanding, I might be the only guest appearance on Fire Flow Fridays. Is
You
that
would be
right?
correct. You would be correct, brother. Yes,
Come
sir.
on,
That's
man.
special.
Come on, man.
That's
Come
special.
on, man. If they don't say something.
You understand? That's special, boy.
All right. So you got into theater. That's dope to hear that all those things kind of happen in the same like formidable parts of your life, to the
Yes, sir.
point where they kind of blossomed the MC that you are. Like you
Yes,
said,
sir.
when you started spitting, now it's like, okay, how do I create the movie? How do I give you the picture? How do I illustrate what's going on up here?
Yep.
That's fire. And that is how I see you as an MC. Very, very visible, visible,
Yeah,
visual.
yeah.
That's the word.
Visual.
Visual.
Right. I got you. Yeah.
That's fire. All right. So we start there. And I know you said, you guys moved around a lot. You was an army brat. Now, how and when did the transition come from East St. Louis to being in Los Angeles? What did that look like?
That was when I was uh 18, 19, somewhere around in there. Out of high school, took a year, did a little college, did a little studying.
Little, little
Uh,
college, just a
yeah,
little,
little college, little
little,
study,
little drive by, little
a
stop
little
by there.
drive by college. You
They
know
was
what I'm
talking
saying?
about.
It was a little beat real quick. But I knew what my passion was, and I
Yeah,
knew that I had to go get it. So I moved out to L.A. and got on it, man. I got on that hustle immediately,
yeah,
um, with the connections that I had built, and a lot of them that I thought I had built, and realized that LA is a whole different being.
yeah,
But I still had built enough connections in order to be able to get going, and then just learn the scene and getting where in whatever door I can get in to study how the industry worked, but still do it on my terms. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Now, which college did you go to?
yeah. SIUE.
SIUNI.
SIUE. So yeah, I was at
SIUE.
Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. Uh,
Okay.
Not Carbondale. Carbondale was the party school. Uh,
Right,
so if
right.
I'd have went to Carbondale for a quick second, I might not have. I
You
might
might
not
not
have
have
made
got
it
us
out.
out of there. You might.
I might not have made it out.
So what I really want to hear, because I know a lot of us creatives, we it's weird when you're coming out of high school, going into college, starting to try to figure out yourself as an adult. You have your thought of like what I can do, what I
Mm-hmm.
want to bring to this world, but you're still so young, and the people that have the elders above you
Mm-hmm.
who have more of a vision, they're telling you what you need to do. They're
Yeah,
telling you what this is the direction you need to go.
yeah,
I hear you. I hear you with your hippity. I hear you back there. I hear you back there hippity hopping. I hear you.
Yeah,
Now
that's
this is
real.
what you need to do, right?
That's real.
So by the time you get to college, I want to know, what did you try to shrink yourself down to be? Because you have to do that when you go to college almost. You got to
Yeah,
find the prerequisites and the, well, maybe I can be, and well, maybe I can,
yeah,
you got to do that whole thing. So
yep.
what was yours?
I was gonna be an architectural engineer.
Fine. That, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
yeah,
smaller than you, right? I
yeah,
know that. That's
yeah.
smaller than your contribution, because I know, I know you, I know what God brought you here to do and what you've already done.
Right.
But that's a good one. That ain't
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
you know,
I might have still been all right. I might have still
yeah,
been
yeah,
all right.
you wouldn't have been.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't, I've met a lot of people that were doing very well in a field that offered, great income. But
yeah,
one thing I always say is, but so many of them, once we get into them real conversations, they be like, man, but I really wish I could have
yep,
blank.
yep,
There's always something. Now,
yep.
rarely do I see somebody like you that's living in their truth, that's like, man, I really wish I could have been that architectural engineer. I
That's
really,
true.
just printing them blueprints out. I can smell the paper now. Ah, I missed it. I missed it. Messing around with this calling, I missed it.
Around this calling. Yeah, man, that's real, bro. That's real.
That's
Yes,
dope.
sir.
Okay, so you go to college for a quick second, little hop, skip, and a jump. Have
Hmm.
some little time there. You didn't make it to Cali. So
Hmm.
you get to Cali. You say, um, early 20s, late teens. You said somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was like right before I turned 20, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
is LA, just complete culture shock to you, or because of things that you've done, it's like, it's light work. What is it
Nah,
like?
it's definitely a culture shock at that point, man. It's because it functions on its own time in its own bubble. Eh, The LA, I used to say LA is less a geographical place on a map and more of a mindset, because
Mm,
the majority of people going in LA are transplants from some other place
that's a fact.
to do something. So
That's a fact.
everybody's out there hustling, trying to make it some kind of way, trying to do something and
Yeah.
figure out and navigate. So the whole perspective is already different,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
Completely.
Uh, so yeah, it was definitely a culture shock to me, no matter what I thought I knew, you know. But hey, man,
All right. So now you're here in LA.
yeah,
You got the shock. You know what I'm saying? But you're here now. You know what I'm saying? 10 toes
yes, sir,
down. You feet on the pavement. You ready to go.
yes,
You
sir.
have this arsenal of talent. Which was the bullet that you thought would be the one that was gonna win the war, though? The one that's gonna get you in everything else in the door. What was the bullet?
Um, at that time, it was actually acting. It was acting.
Mm.
That was the one that was the main reason why I went out there, because I had done the two films before I actually moved out there.
Oh, fire.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I was already SAG after union before I even moved to LA.
Mm.
Um, and and if I had my way, I'd have probably moved out there when I was like 14 to 16. And mom's was like, I don't think so. Now, when you get grown, you do what you want, you do what you got to do. But yeah, no, no, sir, no,
She's
sir.
like, who
And I'm
you think
glad
you,
she, yeah,
Bow
I'm
Wow? Who
glad
you
she
think
held me
you?
back and let me develop a little bit more
Yeah,
in
yeah,
life, and then go out there so I can handle what was to come. But yeah,
right.
I thought it would be acting, which in a sense it actually was, because that did open the doors for other avenues, and the networking and meeting other people
Mm.
is what actually helped me get into the music scene out there, and then started, working with other people and whatnot.
That's fire. Side note, I just want to point out to anybody watching that without prepping, without figuring things out, and I say this about this guy all the time, we be on the same page. Look at his shirt, look at my shirt. Do you see the
Right?
similarity? Do you see the
Yes, sir.
connection? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, sir.
That's all I'm gonna say is that this was not planned.
Nope.
Okay, moving on. So acting was the bullet. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Tell me about your first audition acting.
First audition. I don't even remember what it was.
And if you
Uh,
can't remember, then
I don't know.
tell me your
But
craziest audition story. Because I know actors, y'all be
yeah. Crazy audition story. I was in a commercial audition once, right? It was for like some kind of, I think it was a detergent or something, whatever it was. It was like real simple thing. You're supposed to
Yeah.
go in there and commercial auditions, you never know exactly what. A lot of times you don't have sides. You just go in there and you're reacting to whatever they say. I'll say, okay, it's going to be this over here. Look over there and say, hey, do that, right? So I'm in there. So I'm in there and I'm in there with some people that's supposed to be, I guess, family. I have no idea. There's no size. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And so they say, okay, well, now it's hot. It's hot in here. And let me see what you do when you're hot. And so
It
so
sounds
this
so
guy,
weird.
yeah. So this guy that's next to me,
Yeah.
right? First he leans on me. He's like, man, man, it's hot in here, right? And so he leans on me, and as he's leaning on me, he starts taking his shirt off. I'm like, hey, I don't know what this got to do with this commercial, but okay, I get it. You hot, you got it. And so like but the thing is, they're not telling him to stop, right?
Yeah.
So he first he gets the shirt off, right? So he
Yeah.
down, he ain't got no tank top on. So he down, just bare chest
Yep.
out,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And he like, oh man, and he like kind of pauses, right,
Don't.
to see if they're gonna stop him. They don't stop him.
They ain't gonna
But
stop
you
him.
know what he
They
does?
want you to go as far because they can always bring it back.
They can always bring it
They can
back,
always bring it back. They want it. How far? Keep going. It's
right?
hot.
So exactly, it's hot, right? It's hot. So he gets down, he gets to pulling his joints off, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now he down, he got him halfway down. He in his underwear, no shirt, and he was like, okay, this is very good. Thank you. That's enough. That's
That's
enough.
crazy.
But the fact is, I think they wanted to see if he was going to do it, so they could maybe have some inside jokes later on. I have no idea,
And I
but
bet they didn't even pick it.
I don't know whatever happened to that commercial, and I've never seen a commercial that had any of that on it, so I have no idea, bro.
I know he wasn't in it. I know he
Right.
wasn't in it. That wasn't even a real audition for a commercial. That was some
Somebody that rented a room and put a camera up.
some of
Oh
the
yeah, I
production
don't know, man. It's
assistants.
some wild stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that world, I feel like nobody knows auditions like actors and dancers.
Yes.
Actors and dancers. I came to LA. My bullet was dancing. Dancing. And so me and my homeboy Richard, shout out to Richard, who's Lady Gaga's lead choreographer. That's my guy. We came out here dancing, like ready to take over the world. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
This is during the Aaliyah era, right?
Yeah.
So we got 1 in a million dancing. You know, we on that time, right? And we out here doing auditions. I will never forget the craziest audition I was at. First off, as you know, these cattle calls be lines around the corner. If you ain't ever been to a audition in LA, oh, pack a lunch. And I mean that literally, pack a lunch.
Yes, sir.
So after 3-4 hours, I finally make it in. I'm in the dance studio. I get called up. No, before I get called up, I'm kind of lined up against the wall with other dancers, right? And they're kind of calling us up in groups of like 5 or 6, something like that. It might be like 30 of us on the wall, still like 400 of us outside, right? And they're going in groups. And so as they go in groups, they have choreography, right? That we all are supposed to know, which we know. And then they have a portion where then they want you to just freestyle. We just want to see what y'all got. Bet, right? I got no problem doing that. That's what I do. I came out here on that. You know what I'm saying? You know who you talking to? Okay.
He gets busy.
So every time they do that, everybody does the choreography. Cool. Then it goes to the freestyle and everybody does their little style of freestyling. All good. Nothing dramatic. Everybody just showing their skills. Some people you can tell are more fluid, more comfortable than others. And you got the people judging is just kind of sitting there, probably can't dance a lick.
Right.
Let's talk about that. But but they judging everybody else, right? Just doing that thing. Okay, I finally get up there. I'm ready. Y'all got the wrong one. I'm ready. It
Mm-hmm.
starts. They say start the choreography. The guy next to me does not start choreography. What he proceeds to do is standing backflips. Bro, he does standing backflips the whole time. He doesn't do one dance move. He literally stands
Oh,
there, shoo, bow, shoo, bow, shoo, bow, over and over and over. Okay,
bro.
so first off, I'm gonna be honest, kind of hard to freestyle when someone's doing this, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to get your bearings. You're like, I don't
Yes,
really know what
sir.
to do next to this, right?
Yeah.
And now you're glancing out at these judges, and everybody is sitting there like this. They ain't looking at nobody else. Nobody else. That's it. The whole time
Yeah.
I'm dancing, I'm over there
Oh
clueless,
no.
lost. Do you know when that video came out? He was in that bad boy backflipping.
Oh, that's cold.
Dude, from
They,
that showed me so much. He knew.
yeah.
He knew the game. He understood. He was like, it's only so many dancers they gonna take. It's only so many. There are 3,000 dancers
Yeah.
that are auditioning for this. They
Yeah.
want 4. Like, but ain't nobody doing this.
No.
Ain't
Exactly.
nobody doing this. Bro,
And they
not
couldn't watch nothing else. That's all they saw. They was like, man, we can't look away. It's like an accident.
he hypnotized them.
And boom.
He
Yes, sir.
hypnotized them, bro. And I kid you not, that same guy, he's also in
Mhm.
You Got Served.
Oh, really?
I didn't go to that audition, but you know what I bet he did?
Backflips.
He was in You Got Served. Crazy.
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Hey, that man knew the game.
Yo, he was smart. He taught me a
Yes,
lot.
sir.
He taught me a lot. And a lot of us don't learn that, especially us from smaller cities. It's like we're brought up to be very like humble,
Yeah.
very modest. We don't really have like what Harlem has. You know what I'm saying? They kind of
Right.
get brought up with a certain energy. Like
Yeah.
even if they not, right?
Yeah.
Certain areas they get brought up different ways. And in those small towns, you ain't brought up like that. You around your granny a lot. You're around people that want you to be respectful. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Be humble.
Right.
Listen first, speak later, which are all great attributes to have until you get to LA, and all that is your biggest hindrance.
Yes, sir.
Your inability to get that off of you. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. That small town core of modesty and humility and not really being all braggadocious. Like, how did that affect you, or did you even notice it affecting you once you got into LA?
Yeah. It's because I'm actually naturally introverted,
Mm,
but introvert gets you no food in LA.
that's a
So I
fact.
had to become an extroverted introvert. Right. I had to
Mm,
learn how to just come out that shell and and mingle or whatever the case may be to where I'm noticeable. So
right,
basically, I just had to become noticeable. Had to learn my route to become noticeable.
right, right.
And but it it still what I still never wanted to do was shy away from that humility and respect that
Yeah,
I learned
right.
from being in a small town. So I had to learn that balancing act, which I think I did pretty well, to maintain that respect and humility, but still step out there and say, hey, you gonna look at me
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I need to be seen. So yeah,
yeah. And it takes some time to get that. It takes
that's
some time to kind of break through that cocoon, so to say, because it's like that, especially at an earlier age, you haven't really got your legs as an adult. You haven't really got that, like, what I believe, I'm gonna stand
right,
on that. You kind of got
right,
like the what I believe, you got what my mom and dad say, you know, my grandpa say, you know, my sister, my brother, you know, you kind of got
Right.
this like collage of yourself that is
Yeah.
presented from inside and out, and you're trying to kind of deal with all of it at one time, and then you kind of
Yep.
break through one moment. You're like, all right, hold
Yep.
on. You know, one of my closest friends, his name is Nitro. He's from Brooklyn. He was a producer. Used to work with like Shanice and New Kids on the Block and the Isley Brothers. You know, other people, whatever, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
he told me something like when he first met me, and I rapped for him. He was like, like he wasn't rocking with me. He was just like, I mean, I could tell you got something, but I don't feel like you there yet.
Mm.
And the reason why was because being from New York, he liked storytellers. And at the time, I wasn't really storytelling. I was more like battle rap almost. You know what I mean? Because it was like high school, you know, you just rapping. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so, anyway, long story short, I got to a certain point in my, you know, journey as an artist where he heard me one day and he said, I'll never forget this because it meant a lot to hear this, and I think a lot of us need to when we reach a certain level. He was like, if you ever find yourself in the room with Timberland or with Just Blaze or you know any of the top notch Dr. Dre, any of the top notch producers,
Right.
don't ever look at them like they doing you a favor. You are good enough. You deserve to be right there with them.
Better know it.
You deserve to be their peer. And I was like, whoa. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, we don't it's hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
I've left parties and had moments that I look back on and I was like, dang, I wish I was able to talk about myself a
Mm-hmm.
different way. Like I could tell that person was peering into me like, hey, so you know, where
Yeah.
you see yourself, you know what I mean? And I'm still kind of like, I mean, you know, I'm trying to do my thing. You know, I'm still in that like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that space. And I do feel like, you know, like Eminem said, you know, lose yourself in the moment. You only get one chance. And a lot of those moments I
Yeah.
do feel like I missed.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
feel like I missed them. I
Yeah.
feel like I
Yeah.
missed them.
Feel you on that.
But
I've definitely had a few of those myself. Like damn, this humility. Well, I just be, just be chilling. I'm just trying to do my thing out here. That ain't gonna get it, bro.
I ain't gonna get it.
Not gonna get
Not gonna get.
it.
And then you know another thing. I don't know if this happens to you as well. Is like especially when you are like fully confident about what you do, you kind of have this. For me, I'm gonna speak for myself. I feel like I also had this error that I made in assuming that my talent
Mm-hmm.
would do all the talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
have to brag. I don't even have to put out as much work as everybody. Like, yeah, you over here in
Mm-hmm.
Santa Monica with your stack of CDs
Right.
and you got this your 80th mixtape this week. Cool.
Uh,
You know, cool. I ain't gotta do that. Like I'm actually
yeah.
have you
Yep.
talked to Nitro? Like he kind of knows, like kind of him.
I can talk to Nitro.
And so you start thinking like when the moment they hear, they gonna know.
Right.
And you don't know at the time that um LA play callers,
Mm-hmm.
shot callers, if you will, don't care nothing about your talent.
At all.
They don't care. And so, yeah, when you did your thing, they were really sitting there like, wow. All right, next.
Yep.
Because
That's it.
that's it. That's it. They
It's
do
pretty
see
good. Anyway, y'all hungry? Y'all ready?
exactly. Where's the backflip guy? He was
The
is he still
backflip
here?
guy.
Is the backflip guy back there?
Now that guy was entertaining. Like, that's
I can
real.
make some money off him.
That is real, man.
Yeah.
That's because they're looking at the product, they're looking at the confidence, and they're looking at how can they turn this product into a profit, and how long can they have this product be a profit?
Yeah.
How long can it be profitable for them?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't care about the talent. They're like, we can make, we've made so many people with way less talent
Oh yeah.
profitable because we saw the profit in that, as in them as a product.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
they could care less about that talent. Now, if you got talent and they can see you as being profitable, oh,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
that's
just
it.
cream on the cake. That's it. That's icing
That's
on the
it.
cake right there. Yeah.
That's it. And the sad thing about a lot of us is like we don't realize that until later on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You don't unless you're blessed to have the right, what's the word I'm looking for? Mentor.
Yes.
The right mentor that can pass down that type of information that you need to hear, that you
Yeah.
need to empower yourself with, because without it, your personal presentation is going to get in the way of your business presentation, and you
Yes,
will
sir.
forget that this is business.
Yeah.
This is business. This ain't nothing else.
Nope.
And all right, all right. On to the next. All right, so we got you here. Um, it's a culture shock. You do see it. You deal with things. Going to auditions. Now, at a certain point, you say, the acting world kind of helped you with the networking to kind of get into music,
Yeah.
and now music is where it was at for you, right? Like that's kind of where you. I guess I should ask. Ultimately, if you could pick one of your bullets that would be the golden one, not the one that got you in, so to say, but definitely the one that you wanted to kind of carry you wanted the most longevity with,
Mm.
which one would that have been?
At that time, it definitely would have been music.
Mm.
Because music is, that's me. That's I have control of that.
Mm,
What I say, how I say it, what my imagery is, what my thought process. It's from the inside out. So, but with acting, that's from the outside in. Let it marinate, and then
yeah,
you recreate from the inside out what you perceive what you're doing to be, to make
right,
it real to you.
yeah,
But music, that's whether you get big, whether you do it by yourself, whether nobody ever hears it, you do it because it's you.
it's you. Yeah, it's
Yep.
your representation. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so now going into music,
Hmm.
um, what's your first LA gig?
First one, what was
And
this
how
one?
did it go? That's what I really want to know. How did it go?
Uh, I don't even remember my first. Man, it was this dude. Man, things move so fast at
Maybe
that time.
I see. I
I
see you did a lot of washing out your first. I'm just
have,
going to. I'm going to assume your first just must not have been that great. You're like, I don't
nah,
even really.
it was
Matter of
just
fact, I have a
it,
feeling you do remember, and you just saying like,
I,
you know what?
I
Mm.
don't actually because and the reason why is because it's like my first, second, third, fourth, fifth came like this. So
Okay.
it was all in one blur, one flow of things,
Got you.
right?
Got you.
So I have no idea what my first music gig was out there, man.
So in that
I don't
opening
know.
blur, would you say that overall it gave you a surge of confidence, or did it
Yes.
like go, okay, I got some work to do? With
Nah, it definitely gave me a surge of confidence because things were coming seemingly so easy and so fast,
mm,
that I actually didn't quite appreciate the opportunities that I was getting. Like I
that makes
appreciated
sense.
the
You get it
opportunities,
too
but
fast.
I didn't realize the value
Yeah.
of how hard it was for the most part for people to get these opportunities,
Got you.
because it seems like they would just like fall in my lap. It's like I would just meet the right person and do the right thing at the right time, and boom. So then they introduced me like, "Yo, he's dope. He da 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 da. He got this confidence and something about him. I like him. You should check him out. You should hire him. Hey, yo, I know y'all got a new artist. Y'all need somebody to write this. They got the right to look, but they ain't got to write the lyrics. Boom, boom, boom. So like all of
Mm,
these things would like just happen, and boom, 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 at the same time that acting was happening. So it was like it was just so much happening at an early age, and like at the age of 20, and it was
You
just,
you like I'm
yeah,
golden.
yeah.
I'm
I was
golden.
like, oh, this good money right here. I'm
I'm
good.
out of
I'm
here.
good.
You know,
Yeah,
you sound like Lil Baby. Lil Baby's early goings ons in the industry sounded like that. He was like,
yeah,
yeah, like I just wrote. I think he was on like his second or third song. Like it wasn't even, and
yeah,
then everything he just wrote is like, oh yeah, it just worked, and I
yeah,
sent that in, and they used that, and then I
yeah.
just it's like,
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
what?
Oh.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like, please don't say that to any struggling, starving
yeah.
a long time because they just sitting there listening like, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just
Mm-hmm.
worked. Okay. Oh yes. Oh, just two songs. Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Mm. No, it's cool. I mean, you do your thing. You do your thing. But, but
You know,
but
when it's for
that
me, it's for me. Whatever. You know,
what's for me is for me.
that's where you get real spiritual at that moment. My time is coming. I'm just, hey, I ain't trying to,
What's
you
for
might
me
run
is
down
for
and get one.
me.
I'm gonna walk down and get them all, like Luda said. So whatever. I'm happy for you though. I am. Keep doing your
Oh
thing.
no, that's real. Oh, that's so real. That's so real. Yeah, but you will drop though. It
Yeah,
don't stay
yeah,
there. It
yeah.
does not stay there.
It does not.
No sir.
All right, so all this happens prior to me even knowing your existence, and
Mm.
somewhere after your trail has already been blazed, you've been on the big screen, you done put out music, you done did all the stuff that you've done. We meet. We meet through a friend. We we meet because they go, hey, he's from St. Louis too. That's it.
That
That's
was
it.
it. That was it.
That remind me of a Chris Rock joke where he was like, oh man, what did he say? I think it was sports. I can't remember what it was, but he's like talking about like married men and
Uh,
how the wives just put them together in a room and expect them just to be friends. Like, hey, talk to him. He likes sports too. Like, oh, you like sports? I like sports. Oh, okay, we like. It's like we were at a party. I never forget that we were at a party, and it's like, come here, come here, come here. He's from
oh,
St. Louis too. It's almost
that
like
was it.
and go.
That's real, bro. That's so real.
I mean, but
Oh,
ironically, shout out to them. It
yeah.
did work. It's
It
like
did work. It worked. There you
like
go.
like we still here and they ain't. So it's like
Yeah, exactly.
so
Yep.
clearly
Yep.
the St. Louis thing kind of did its thing. All
Yeah.
right, so then we meet and over the course of understanding, what each other does as an MC and even rocking the stage together. I had you featured at the Whiskey A Go Go and on Sunset in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Then we form CNE.
Yes, sir.
CNE. Some of the most fire music that no one has really
This
got
is
a
true.
chance to get their hands on, except for the people closest to us.
This is true. This is true. This is very
so,
true.
so prior to that point, had you ever worked with another artist? Had you ever had another group? Did you ever do anything as a team when it came to hip hop?
Not in that capacity, bro. Not in that capacity.
Mm,
I mean, you worked with plenty of artists, but not as any where I was like, you know what, this is something special
yeah.
where I I want to represent what they represent, and we represent
Mm.
this art form together as a collective. Like that's a rare, it's super rare for me. I think you're the only one. You're the only one that I say, you know what,
Let's
that's
do it.
and once again, you're the only one that's been on my Five Flow Friday. So there you go. There it is.
Hey, hey, hey. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Yes,
Just
sir.
hey. All right. So I guess secret to the world, we are gonna work on the CNE project. Um, life has happened. You know what I'm saying? Like for
Yes.
anybody that knows us, they know life has happened. For anybody that doesn't, that might be just tapping in for the first time today. First off, welcome. But second, we got families now.
Yes, sir.
He's a family man now. You've
Yes,
you've
sir.
grown and elevated through the life, through the ranks of being an actor and being an artist and balancing those things as you know pursue business and entrepreneurship. The list goes on,
Yes,
and
sir.
then one day you are looking into the eyes of your first child.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Let's talk
Yes, sir.
about let's talk about Maverick, man. I see the smile. You see the smile? Did y'all see the smile change when I brought that up? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, man. That was a dream come true right there, brother.
Yeah.
The Prince,
Prince.
Maverick, man.
Prince Mav.
Man, he just finding out that my lady was pregnant was I didn't know what to do, man. I had prayed for that, um, and I was told the universe spoke to me. God said, "Hey, man, it's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you."
Yeah.
And when he comes, you're gonna be prepared, whether you think you're prepared or not,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so as soon as he was born, man, I looked right in his eyes, and he was looking right. And how sometimes babies just have blank stare and they looking
Yeah.
off, but he was looking. He was like, "Yeah, I see you looking at me. I'm looking
Right,
at
right,
you."
right. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
He
What?
said, "You
What
and
you want
me,
to
we
tell him?
don't do this, right?" And I knew he was special from then. I said, this boy is smart. This guy, he
Mm,
might be a genius, and I know he's smarter than me. And guess what?
mm.
He's smarter than me.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. And so, hold on, real quick to the chat. My man, Master Sheldon, who I call Kung Fu Sheldon. I didn't even see him in the chat. My apologies, homie. Thank you for watching. He says that he didn't even know. He said he's never heard of the story. I think he's talking about with us. He said, nor the music.
Oh.
So that's another person that's very close to us that
Mm-hmm.
still has not heard the C&E project. I
Yeah.
mean, let me say it this way. We haven't really finished the C&E project. We have some C&E songs.
Right.
We did a show. We've had C&E performances.
Yes, sir.
But we definitely have more work to do. He also said, preach, talent is not enough. Man. Later on, let me tell you, Master Sheldon and Advance. When I heard that line that hard work will beat talent, if talent doesn't work hard, boy, that was like 70 swords to the heart. I was like, that's me. I got scared. I was like, oh no, that's me. Like,
A
what have I
100%
been
of the
doing?
time.
And because I'll be honest, I feel like I even shunned people that were working so hard, but they wasn't good. I'm like, dude, why you out
Mm-hmm.
here selling these CDs? You're not. It's not good, man.
Wasting your time, bro. Just let it
Come
go.
on.
Give it up.
Come on, approaching me
Mm-hmm.
with a 48 song mixtape. I'm like, bruh,
Yeah. Yeah.
ah,
And
I
then
got two songs half mastered, and they kind of all sound they're kind of killing the whole thing, man. I'm just keeping it. But at the end of the day, he was better.
yeah.
He was
Yep.
right
Yep.
because he was out there working it, and the hard work wins. I feel like the reason our radio station sounds the way it sounds right now, and this is no knock to it because I have embraced it as hip hop. I was just talking about this with Master Sheldon, how it's honest.
Mm-hmm.
And the core of hip hop has always been honesty to your own truth, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be how you dress, how you dance, the way that you want to DJ, the way you rap. Like what we bring to it has always been, this is my honesty. So
Yes, sir.
even drill rap, in so many words, that's their honesty. So I do embrace it as hip hop, but I do think that
Mm-hmm.
a reason that the radio sounds the way that it sounds is because they worked a little harder. I think that you
Mm-hmm.
have the lyricists that were so focused on getting the right words and the right this and making sure
Mm-hmm.
that all punch with that and that connects and this, that, and that. And they was over there like, yeah, okay, cool. Put that out. Another
Yeah.
beat, 6 songs in
Yeah.
a night, another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that won. I think they shout out to Nip. I think they won the marathon.
Yeah. While
Keep
you
it
got your little
gangster.
half a song that's taking you 4 months to do, they didn't put out 12 albums. They
Right.
ain't got to be good,
Right.
but they got product.
Now, and imagine that now looking at it from a business standpoint, I got this artist that already has 12 albums done.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I have my engineers go in and kind of rework the mix and the master to get it popping. I have some people come and handle the artwork, so it's a little more fresh. But the
Right.
albums are done and they're
Yeah.
out. Then
Yeah.
I got this guy who I don't really know rap like that, but I can tell this is way better quality. But
Mm-hmm.
he said he has like 4 songs, but 2 he's still trying to get the right singer for the hook. So I guess 2 songs. And so we got to start from the beginning with him. Come on.
Ooh. Which one you gonna go with?
Yo,
It's a business. Yeah.
it's a
Which one you gonna go
business.
with? Exactly.
Kung Fu Sheldon
Exactly.
said that Kung Fu means hard work.
Yeah. See. There you go. There
Wow.
you go.
Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy. Kung
See
Fu
there.
means hard work. All right. So we talked about music. So now we are into Mav. So Prince Mav
Yeah.
is as you feel, he's like smarter than you, which that's what they're supposed to be, right?
They supposed to be.
They're
Yes, sir.
supposed to be. I look at my son, I feel the same way, like his level of charisma. I'm like,
Yes.
well, what are we doing? What are we
Yeah.
doing? Um, do you struggle as a father trying to figure out your current status in your dreams and goals, but also wanting to start with him and getting his early start to reach whatever he might want to reach one day?
Yeah. Sometimes I do have those moments where you just trying to figure out how do I balance this? How do I what part of me do I sit down for a second while I nurture this
Yeah.
and if I do this for myself, am I
Yeah.
taking away from his moment?
Mm,
Am I dulling him in a way where if I'd have given him this time or this energy, then he would really be here? But then if I do that, do I have to sit down again and is it over for me? Like you
tough.
constantly in that tug of war battle and trying to find that balance. But yeah, I mean, I think we found it. I think and I can't say we found it because it's all ongoing.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
phase, every day, every new challenge or whatever. But I think we found a good process that
Got
works
you.
for us to where I can nurture him and he can excel, which he does so amazingly,
Mm,
and I can still do my thing and excel, and we both be all right. We be good.
I
We be
like
good.
it. I
Yeah.
like it. And so, how old is he right now?
He's 5. He's about to be 6 in November. Yeah.
6th of November.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, yeah. So he's at a good age where he's definitely has already shown you his interests,
Yeah.
things that make his eyes light up, right?
Yeah.
So if you had to, if you had to piece together what his future looks like, what do you see him being?
Uh, an athletic architectural engineer. Dude. I kid you not though. I kid you not, bro. This, hey man, the things that he creates and builds
Yeah.
is mind blowing.
Wow.
Like whether it's with Lego, like he built an overpass with Legos, right? When he had the cars, he had the overpass, he had the highway, he had the divider. Dude, I mean, it was intricate.
Crazy.
It was
Crazy.
intricate without even seeing anything or going off anything visual. He's like, I just thought about it. I thought it was cool. You like it, Daddy? I'm like, yeah, I like it. Like, and the greatest part is it's structurally sound
Mm,
and it's the right perspective. And like you could take that and blow that up as a 1 to 10 ratio, and you will probably be right on point. Like it's he's that amazing with that. So
wow.
yeah, and then he's just naturally athletic, man. Like baseball, he's a monster out there. So
Wow.
yeah, brother.
You know what's obviously the first thing that stands out, maybe to the people listening as well, is that you said if you didn't rap, you probably would be an architectural engineer.
That's true. Yeah.
And, and then at 5 or whatever age he did it, your son is over here building new infrastructure for the freeway system.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Have you noticed anything like that as well, where it's like not, you kind of assume that big picture things your kid will do like you, whether it's like how they look or maybe how they walk or little things like that. But have you seen like some small, tiny little thing that you might not even notice that you did, but you see in him already? It's like, how did that get passed down? How did that little thing get passed down?
A lot of little things, I guess, that surprise me from time to time. I tell you one thing that he does have that we work on, that's I had to grow into, and that's controlling his passion. Right? You may see it as a temper, but it's passion. We're gonna go with passion. So, so
I
controlling
get
his
it. I get
passion.
it now. Controlling
You know
his
what I'm saying?
passion.
So he reacts in certain ways that I reacted, that I didn't expect him to react in those ways. And the part that's the what makes it so whoa is because he uses this to infuse into it, so it's hard for you to debate it, no matter how wrong it is. It's hard for you to debate it because he didn't put into it, and you got to be like, "I'll be back. Give me a second. I got to think on this for a second." But we gon' because like that's and that's what makes it scary. So yeah.
Yeah, there was a time. I guess he probably still does it, but there was a time that I think my wife took a picture, and I was sitting back in my chair on the couch watching TV, and I had my right hand behind my head, and my
Yeah.
son was next to me watching TV with his right hand behind his head. He hadn't looked at me. It was just instinctively, that's just
Yeah.
that was comfortable to him. And I'm like, how did that get passed down? Like,
Yeah.
how you pick up on
Those
that?
little idiosyncrasies, bro. That's crazy. Like those little things. That's
Right.
crazy.
Right. I see Mama Wolf said these kids are too smart to argue with. Man,
Yeah.
ain't that the truth?
You're not
Ain't
lying
that the
about
truth?
that.
Yeah, we be having some times I'm listening, and it's either one or two things. Either they too smart sometimes, and sometimes they too funny. Because sometimes you be sitting there trying to tell them like, look, and then they say something, you be like, how did let me
Knock all that.
hold that in. I can't let you see it. Can't
Mm-hmm.
let you see that smile. I gotta keep that daddy face right now.
Uh-huh. And they be looking for it too.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You
Oh, I
like,
got you.
you be like, go on upstairs, go upstairs real quick. I'll be up there. I'll be up.
Yep. They know they got you too. They know they got you.
Yeah,
What?
man, these kids are smart. We talk about that a lot. It's like we all know that they're going to be smarter than the last generation because the amount
Yeah.
of information that they get in a short amount of time on a daily basis, it just far exceeds anything that mankind has ever known.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then another thing that yours is 5, and your number 2 is 2.
One.
She's
Just turned
1.
one.
She's 1. All right, so you got 2. You got the pair, the boy and the girl, and
Yes, sir.
they're 4 years apart. So yeah, you will see this. You will see that when she's 3 and 4, she'll be further along than he was at 3 and 4. Not just because she's a girl, and they say girls mature faster, but also because she'll be 3, 4. He'll be what's that? 8, 9, and so
Mm-hmm.
well, no, 7, 8, and so
Right.
she's gonna have 7, 8-year-old toys around.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays with 5-year-old toys.
Mm-hmm.
When he was 2, he played with 2-year-old toys. When
Yeah.
she's 2, she's gonna play with 2-year-old and 6-year-old toys.
Yeah, true
So
that.
she's just gonna get it even faster.
True that. True
Even
that.
faster. Crazy
Yeah.
how crazy how it works. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
fatherhood looks like it's been good to you, brother.
Yes, it has. Yes, sir.
Fatherhood looks like it's been good to you.
Yeah.
I know I've known you from a single man in Los Angeles all the way to being a father. Now moved your family to Chicago to be closer to the family. And so
Yes,
I
sir.
must ask, Chicago, man, we just visited Chicago, saw you while I was there,
Of course.
took the wives out. We all hung out, had a great time, as
Yes,
we
sir.
should. And I meant to ask, you've lived in Los Angeles, St. Louis, Atlanta, and now Chicago.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of differences in the black folks in them areas, in the cultures of those areas.
Yeah.
What kind of things stand out to you as like some of the top differences when you've moved either from LA to Chicago or from Atlanta to Chicago, or even similarities? And out of all those places, like what peaks as far as like which one did you like the most?
Which one I like the most? I don't know. I have to think about that.
Okay.
But the but Atlanta, what's great about Atlanta is it's it's the black mecca, right? It's the black entertainment mecca,
Right,
right?
right.
And part of how they became so great at what they do, which is a hustle, a certain hustle mentality of we're going to get it. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm just going to do it.
Hmm.
And I'm going to get these things done, was kind of due in part to LA and New York, because LA and New York were the big wigs. We the big bosses over here, and y'all go ahead with that little stuff. Y'all go ahead with that little stuff.
Yeah,
They're like, yeah, but we trying to get in and we trying to do our thing too. They're like,
yeah.
yeah, but you ain't got no training. You ain't good enough. You ain't got the stuff. So
Yeah,
what were they supposed to do? They
yeah.
said, okay, well, we're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
And so with
And then
that
hold on.
mentality,
Then somebody
oh,
gets on stage one day and says, "Hey, yo, the South got
got
something to
something
say."
to say. That's right. That's
The
right.
South got something to say.
And he meant that.
He meant
He
it.
meant that. And so that okay, we're gonna do it ourselves mentality is what birthed so many entrepreneurs out there in all walks of life. It doesn't matter whether it's
Fire.
entertainment, whether it's business, whether you're talking about corporate. It does not matter.
Yeah.
It's the black entrepreneur mecca in
Wow.
Atlanta. Yeah, and so
Wow.
that mentality is I gotta do that.
Shout out to
Gotta
Atlanta.
salute them on that.
Yeah.
Um, but Chicago is more. What can I say? Chicago is like a large small town,
Hmm.
right? It's a large city,
Yeah.
but it's a small town. The way it works as far as the mentality
Interesting.
goes,
Interesting.
it's just it's basically a lot of people
Yeah.
who have the same mentality of moving, of how they move and how their habits are. It's just more of them.
And so then if you had to look at the two, which of those mentalities breeds greater togetherness as a community? Because you have one that's looking at the rest of the world like, oh, y'all not accepting us, okay, we're gonna do it ourselves. But through the process of being an entrepreneur, it
Mhm.
does beget a lot of trust in myself, even though I got to trust my team. But you,
Right.
you start looking inward a lot. And then you're also talking about it being more of a small city or a small town kind of energy out there as far as the way that people look at certain things in Chi-Town, that can breed a certain amount of like togetherness. So which one would you say as a community feels a little more together?
Probably Chicago.
Chi-Town.
Yeah, because
Chicago for the win.
Chicago, I think Chicago has that, because Chicago still, even though it's a large city, it's still a home place where people grew up. Like
Yeah,
as a large percentage,
I
people
got you.
grew up here. Whether they left or came back, it's still that kind
I
of
got
situation
you. Yeah,
where
yeah,
Atlanta is like a small Los Angeles.
yeah.
There's plenty of
Transplant.
people from Atlanta and the outskirts of Atlanta, but there's so many people from other places
Yeah,
there. You
yeah.
know?
Okay,
Yeah.
Chicago. I see you, Chicago. And
Yeah.
Chicago has birthed some of the greatest in hip hop history,
Yes,
some of the
sir.
legends
Yes, sir.
from Twista
Yes, sir.
to Common
Yep.
to Kanye
Yep.
to Lupe. I
Yep.
mean, the list goes on. They got hitters,
Yes,
right?
sir.
That came
Yes.
out. So hip hop and Chicago hand in hand. It's like the Bronx and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like you got
Yep.
to speak about Chicago nowadays if you're gonna talk about the rap culture.
Yeah.
Um, Mama Wolf said Kanye crazy? I get it. I get it. I understand. We ain't gonna start a Kanye conversation. I already know where that's gonna go. But I did want to say, thinking about legends in hip hop, that hip hop just celebrated 50
Yes, sir.
years. Did you watch the concert, the celebration, the performances that happened?
Or which one? I've seen a few of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
behind.
Like,
I'm behind. I haven't seen. Well, let me not say that. I saw a tribute to Busta, and I saw a
yeah.
couple of performances, but not a lot. So tell me about, tell me what I need to go see. Let's do it that way.
um, there was a nice old school one at the Essence Fest that I saw that I caught that was really good.
Mm.
With Dougie Fresh leading that way, and so Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew got back together with Slick Rick. So that's always gonna be that thing.
Always,
Yeah,
always.
man. And so that was a beautiful moment, and
Hold
he
on,
had
is that the one that had Lil Vicious?
yeah. No, well, he had him on both. He had it at the BET Awards and at
Okay, okay.
so
I don't know which one we saw, but I saw a Lil Vicious
yeah.
performance. I just don't know which one it was. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that one was real good.
Dope.
Um, One that I have not seen that is I would assume it's an ode to the 50 years, which
Mhm.
is LL Cool J's tour. He's on the Force tour, right? He had a
Mm,
tour called Force. And what's so special about this tour is wherever he goes, there are special sets with the artist depending on where he's at, right? So the set may be completely different,
yeah.
but it's a tribute in that space, right?
Dope.
So
Dope.
it's not just a set list and then okay, I got a couple of guests, come on out.
Yeah.
It's like a whole show as though it's for them,
Fire.
and so that's kind of a an ode to the 50 years of hip hop, and which is an let me segue to LL and his greatness for
Yeah.
preserving the culture, right?
Yeah.
The whole Rock the Bells brand, right?
Right.
That brand preserved that our golden era culture and brought it into this period because
That's a
no
fact.
one was really preserving it like that.
That is a
KRS
fact.
One has the tip of hip hop, and now he has the what's it called, the Alliance, the Hip Hop Alliance, which is another route somewhat similar to that. But the Rock the Bells brand, the LL formed,
Yeah.
filled that void to preserve that golden era and bring it to now, and make sure that it doesn't get forgotten, that it's not somewhere off in the woods somewhere. So
Yeah.
now as hip hop grows and matures, we grow and mature as a whole, and
Mm,
you can go back and grab this if you want. If you
yeah.
don't, you don't have to, but it's there.
It's there. It's
You
there.
know, and
Yeah.
I gotta salute him for bringing that space to life, because
Yeah.
he's one of the pioneers, and so he's
Absolutely.
like that. He saw a lot of his mentors and idols and all of the greats that he looked up to were didn't get the respect and recognition that they should be getting at
Yeah.
this point in time, like anyone else in any other genre would be at at that point in their career. They would be saluted and celebrated, but they weren't getting that. So he
Yeah.
made sure to start doing that, and then you started seeing a
Fire.
lot of different spin-offs from that. And things like drink chaps and stuff like that.
Yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
LL. That's true.
Yes, sir.
That's true. That was big. That was real big for hip hop and
And
the
he's the one
memory
who
of hip hop.
created who brought the acronym GOAT to the hip hop culture.
That's true.
He brought that in, and that's all we say now. That's all we talk about.
Who's the
That's
GOAT?
huge, bro.
That's huge.
Yes, sir.
That's huge. And you know, anytime someone brings up LL Cool J, even though we're giving him his props right now, his respect, which I will always do.
Yes,
I,
sir.
I feel like if you don't have LL in your top 5, trust me, if I change the credentials of who gets in your top 5, you'll have to put LL in there, and he's
Yes.
definitely in your top 10. He better be.
Yes, sir.
But anytime the name LL Cool J is brought up on this channel, the question has to be asked: who won the battle, LL or Cannabis?
That's it. This interview is over. Uh, oh man.
The shot
So,
heard around the world.
yeah. Blah, blah. So, Lord, I
And,
gotta
and
put this
I
on the
know
record. Now I
what
gotta
you're about
put
to
this on the
do.
record.
I know
I
what you're
dare
about to
you.
do. You
Now I
about
gotta
to
put it on the record.
don't hit me with that long winter answer where it's like, well, you know, LL did this, man, that was dope because of this. So you got to give him, but then Cannabis, he brought this, and then at the end, ain't no winner because you just done.
Right. Right.
Who won the battle,
Well,
man?
I'm gonna say I definitely prefer second round knockout when it comes to just eating with the bars, man. The
Yeah,
second round knockout by Cannabis was phenomenal, bro. That was top tier phenomenal. Um,
true.
However, LL won the war. So he won the war. He's LL, and he withstood it. That's all I can say. He won the war.
He won the war. That
Yeah.
reminds me of something like me and Master Sheldon was talking about, Kung Fu Sheldon, as I call him. We were
Yes, sir.
talking about the difference in battling, like you know, underground battling, not professionals, but
Mm.
underground battling. How on the West Coast we were literally freestyling, like everything was off the top. It was talking
Mm-hmm.
about that and this backpack and that girl over there, and the next period that's about to happen. It was trying to put it
Yeah.
all into there and be the freshest, right?
Yeah.
But later we learned on the East Coast, they wasn't really off the top like that. Like Cassidy and them talk about, like, no, they just had raps.
Right.
They just had tons of raps. And
Yeah.
whoever ran out of raps was usually the one that lost. It wasn't like who was the best. Like both of y'all got
Right.
bars, both of y'all got bars. It was about longevity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look at Freeway and Cass. It's like
Yeah.
Cass was winning the battle, but the ultimate death blow was put on a beat. It was
Yeah.
it was
Yep.
Freeway running out. Like
Yep.
that's
Yep.
what people point to.
Yep.
So what do you think about that approach to battling where it's like back in the day, or not approach, but like which one do you, I guess, look at as uh, a greater way to approach a battle? Like the off the top nature, where you know it might be good sometimes, it might be bad because it kind of depends on a lot of factors,
Right.
or the pre-written, but it has nothing to do with this moment. It's literally just floss and sauce, and we, you know, blah blah blah.
Right. I don't know, man. That's contextual. That's contextual, man.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have a. That's contextual, and it also depends on the artist, because there are some artists who they write for battles, and it applies to a wide variety of people. So even when
right,
they spitting what's written is
right.
hitting, right?
It's
It's
hitting.
hitting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then you got people with that special ability that can come off the head and can light you up, man. That's a beautiful ability, bro. To do that
Yeah,
like that,
like
it's
that on the spot.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So I would say it's contextual, because you can have somebody horrible in either one going to get somebody that's half decent, and they would look bad for
That's a good
the
point.
people who say, well, this is better. But then on the flip side, you got somebody that. So
Yeah, no,
I would say it's contextual, bro.
that's a good point. And now you were in the middle because you went to school in St. Louis.
Yes,
So
sir.
you guys are in the middle, and at that time, some of the bigger names in hip hop haven't really come out of St. Louis. Haven't really come out of St. Louis yet, right? On the mainstream. So, what was the battle scene like there? Was it more East Coast? Was it more West Coast? Or as far as approach and what I just said, or were they battling at all? Was that not even a thing?
It was some battling. Definitely was some battling. It was more. It was more funny East Coast, right? So you take that so you take that East Coast approach,
Yeah,
but but with the joking mentality, right?
interesting.
That Joan and that Cap and all of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That that heating jokers up. So you took that approach and you combined it with that joking manner, and you had some real fire that Cass was was putting out there.
I
So
like it.
yeah.
All right. Well, since we've made our rounds all the way back to St. Louis, you put out a documentary recently.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk
Yes, sir.
about it.
Um, it's called Target St. Louis Volume One, written and directed by Damian D. Smith, St. Louis native. It's about the 50s and 60s, the government, our beautiful government that loves us so much that would
So
never do
much.
anything to
So
harm us,
much.
you know.
We get
Um,
together sometimes just to talk about how much the government loves us. With
oh yes,
we drink milk and eat warm cookies. It's a pleasure.
bake some
But
apple pie, Um, so it's about in the 50s and 60s how they conducted these experiments on the Pruitt-Igoe housing in St. Louis, which is anybody from that area knows that it's an impoverished project housing,
hmm,
right? And they were testing tactics during the Cold War with Russia that they wanted to see what would happen if they spray this aerosolized zinc cadmium sulfate on the people unsuspectingly, and
sure.
what would be the long-term effects of that. What would be the radiation levels? What would happen? Would they get cancer? Would they die? Would it affect their generations? Even in their reports they were saying we want to see what it would do to their generations 40, 50 years from now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cold-blooded, bro.
Wow.
And they first tried it in Minneapolis,
Yeah.
in a white neighborhood, right? And they said they went to all the people, and they were like, the officials say, okay, we want to conduct these experiments to see how things would work, if we, because your city is set up like the cities in the Soviet Union,
Hmm.
and that's who we're at war with. So we want to put this blanket of smoke over it to see if we could hide from their bombers and things of that nature, right? So they would put up these big boxes that shoot down the smoke and all of that stuff and cover the city. But the residents were like, "No, we ain't having that. You got to get up out of here." And they booted them out. They was tampering with all of the boxes and all of the things, and they would mess up the vans that came through spraying it. So they had to get up out of there. It was a failed experiment.
Yeah.
So then when they came to St. Louis, they said, okay, well, we're going to pick another place that's like, and they wanted to do in St. Louis all along anyway. So they was like, okay, let's pick some place in St. Louis where the buildings are kind of similar as far as the height goes, the environment, the eco system, everything. And this time, we're not telling anybody anything. We're just going
Right.
to do it. And if they try to battle us or they try to fight us, how can they? They have no money. They're impoverished. They're black. What are they going to do about it?
What are they
Right?
gonna do?
So then they set up these boxes on the tops of the projects, and they would blow them down with fans into the neighborhood, and they would have these white vans that would come by, blowing this white clouds of smoke all into the neighborhood. And if anybody
Oh,
asked, they was like, "Oh, well, we're just spraying for pesticides because we want to make sure it's safe for you guys." So then people found out about the experiment, and they gave them the same thing. Oh, well, we putting up smoke screens just in case people would bomb us during war because we're
who bombing St. Louis?
nobody.
Who, who's skipping the
Nobody.
whole USC? Pentagon, nah. White House, yeah. Ooh, the arch. Ooh,
That's exactly
that's where
nobody.
the Cardinals play. Let's get the stadium.
That's what the Cardi said.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow. And
It was cold blooded, bro.
this was a government project. I mean, I'm
Government
not
project.
if that came across shocking, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
sound like I was shocked because
exactly.
because clearly our government has had no trouble doing experiments on us. I mean, you go back to even when they were trying to test out strands of cocaine, like it's how we got LSD and PCP and all these different versions of cocaine using black men because of their high
Yep.
tolerance to
Yep.
see. Let's not go into that. We're gonna stay on the documentary in St.
Yes,
Louis
sir.
right now. I know most people out there had no clue about this.
Nope.
Like that's a shocker.
Yeah.
I would argue that probably people that were in that city during that time had no clue.
No idea whatsoever. Nobody knew. This people only found out in hindsight when there was research done
Mm,
on it. That's when people found out after so many people from that area died of illnesses and the majority of cancer. Like my father was a child in the Pruitt-Igoe housing projects during that time, so he
oh man,
experienced it firsthand.
wow.
He passed away of cancer. Uh,
Wow.
uh, a lot of them passed away younger, like in their 50s and 60s of cancer or some respiratory illness and whatnot. And when it was crazy is when they first conducted the experiments in the 50s, they left and then came back in the 60s for a second wave to do second testing, and they were collecting baby teeth. So all of the children whose teeth were falling out, they were collecting them so they can measure the amount of radiation that affected the different ages and the different. Oh,
Oh, that's
it's raw.
sick.
And then they left and never returned, and they never gave them any explanation,
Of
no
course not.
hospitalization,
Of course not.
nothing. They
And-
just left, bounced on them, and left the city to die. And I'm sure they were still monitoring from afar
oh yeah.
unofficially.
Oh yeah. I'm even sure that they probably put millions of dollars behind that project and then didn't even use the stuff.
Yeah,
That's what would be the craziest thing. They probably didn't even ever use it. Like, we new technology has come out, and now we have this. So let's just
yeah.
kill that whole thing and
They
start
put so
testing
much.
this new thing.
They gave millions of dollars to Stanford Research. They were the ones who were over running the whole program.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
Stanford Research Institute. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then so the guy, what was his name again? What's the director's name?
Damian D. Smith.
Damian D. Smith. Okay,
Yeah,
Damian. So how did Damian come across this information? Do you know?
his grandmother. She
Mm,
was a child in Pruitt-Igoe during that time, and
wow.
so I think she came across a news article in a newspaper, I think,
Yeah.
and she sent that to him, and then she started telling him all the stories about back then, and then he started doing research. He was like, "What? Oh no, no, no! Let me check this out," and then he built the framework from there.
And so did is she in the film?
Yes,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
That's that's awesome. All right, for everybody listening, tell them the name of the film again and where they can go see it.
It's called Target St. Louis Volume One.
Mm.
Right now, we're actually discussing some distribution options. But we've been playing at a lot of festivals, and a lot of people have requested it. So we've been doing a lot of private events as well,
Hmm.
with the screenings. So but just be on the lookout for it, because right now we're dealing with a distribution option. So I'll definitely keep you posted with that.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Love it. And so you say it's Target St. Louis Volume One, which
Yes.
then alludes to a Volume Two. So the question then becomes: is Volume Two an extension of the same projects? Is Volume Two another area of St. Louis, or is it Target Chicago Volume Two? What should we be looking forward to in Volume Two?
Right. So, and I got to throw this back to Damien, because it's his he has a huge vision for
Hmm.
what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring a lot of awareness to St. Louis, to that whole area and the history of St. Louis, be it documentaries, be it unscripted, and be it films and television
Hmm.
that tells the different stories of St. Louis, right? So he has
Wow.
this beautiful vision for it.
Yeah.
So that volume one just lets you know that it's the first installment of many installments that are in different facets
Got you.
dealing with St. Louis.
Got you.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really dope vision.
Got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so crazy that it's crazy what the government can get away with.
yeah.
And in plain sight, which is why I do like I bring on my guy South Central Conservative on the channel, and he has a lot of interesting views about certain topics. But one thing I will say is his rich and deep distrust in all things government. It seems like it does not go without basis. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it does make sense. Like it's almost sometimes America is kind of like that what they used to say. Like if someone is gossiping about somebody else to you, like,
Hmm.
well, beware because they'll eventually gossip about you to somebody else.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I'll never forget this story because I was young. I think I might have been 17, 18 at the time. I was working at Fry's Electronics in Sacramento, California. And so, yeah, it was after I graduated. So I had to be at least 18. And I was I was doing an appliance delivery, right? So I was delivering refrigerators and ranges and all of that. And I'm talking to a lady. That's one thing that I've always gotten is like people talking to me, like just opening up and sharing stories. And we were sitting there talking. I don't remember what the conversation was about, but never will forget that she said, "Oh yeah, Americans steal us." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Oh yeah, Americans steal us." I'm like, "They steal you?" And she said, "Oh yeah, all the time. Americans come to our country and they steal people from our country." I was like, "What?" Like I didn't even know how to. I didn't know what to do with that information. It was so
Yeah.
big for me just getting out of high school because high school for us back then, you're still learning. You know what I'm saying? America's it's pretty much the greatest place you could be.
You better know it. It's
Like,
Disneyland for the world. Yeah.
we're pretty much on the island of greatness, and
Right.
come on
Right.
board.
Right.
um, so to hear something like that, you're like, okay, that's weird. Is this lady just tripping? Did she have her facts wrong? And then so later in life, when I start learning about these covert operations and learning about these espionage efforts and how they planted, prostitutes in order to get information and spot. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh,
Yeah.
oh. And so, but during that time, you're always thinking, oh, wow, this is crazy stuff that they do to other countries.
Hmm.
It's crazy that America does this to them.
Right. Oh man, that's messed up. Good thing
Ah,
we live here in America.
glad I
Yeah.
wear the red, white, and blue flag. I cover my heart and everything. I've been saying the
Yep.
Pledge of Allegiance as long as I can. Ah,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
find out that the Wiz is just a scared little guy with his
Hmm.
fingers in everything.
Peek behind that curtain. That's it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yo, it is it's a scary that's a scary thing to think of. And I know a lot of us we know it, but at a certain point you'll drive yourself crazy trying to focus on it. You know what I mean? Like it'll
Oh yeah.
turn into your life, especially in the world that we live today in these echo chambers. It's hard to even
Yeah.
decipher information and find what's honest and factual.
Yeah.
It's like, so what do you do with all that?
Oof, man, you gotta learn how to compartmentalize and breathe and step back and then reapproach, man. It's
And you have a son.
I have a
You
son.
you are the proud owner of a black son, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
and 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 do you ever think about when your son sees police officers right now and he's like, "Hey, cops," do you ever think about the conversations that you have to have with him later on
Yeah.
about what those cops think when they might see him when he's 17?
Yeah, man, it's heartbreaking, bro. Because every time you see yourself at that age when everybody be like, "What you want to be when you grow up? What you want to be?" I want to be a police officer. I want to be this and that. Because you like, man, they protect and serve, and they gonna do this, and man, I'm gonna get the bad guys. Yeah, bad guys, right? And that's
Put
and
him up.
that's it, right? Put them up, and that's your viewpoint of it because
Yeah.
that's what's sold to you.
Right.
And then you find out that, oh no, you may be the bad guy.
Mm,
Why are you the bad guy? Nothing you did.
mm.
Nothing you did. But you might still be the bad guy.
You might still
So
be the bad guy.
and there's a quote from James Baldwin in the film where he's from the debate. I forgot the name of the debate, but from one of his greatest debates, and he was like, "It comes as a shock to." And this when we were Negroes. It
Yeah.
comes to as a shock to the American Negro that when Gary Cooper was fighting the Indians and you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, and
cold.
I have heard that from Baldwin. If you have
Yes,
not listened to James Baldwin
yes,
and you
sir.
care anything about, you don't even gotta care about human. I mean, black people. Though he's gonna, that was a Freudian slip. Even though he's gonna talk heavily about the black experience, if
Right,
you just have a heart for humanity, if you
man.
are trying to understand the social, cultural condition of America, you listen to James Baldwin.
Yes, sir.
What was the
Yes.
book? Something on fire.
The fire next time.
Fire next time. Fire next time.
Yeah, yeah. The fire. It was the fire next time, and then the sequel, which was this time the fire, something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
James Baldwin was a different mind.
Yes, sir.
Different mind. All right, so I know we're coming to the end over here, so we got to bring it back to music. I mean, we've talked about um your upbringing. We've talked
Mm.
about you as an actor, as a rapper. Are there any other parts of you that you'd like to talk about?
I like long walks on the beach and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
horses.
Yeah.
Uh, I,
Nice. All right, all right. So
yeah.
I know last time we did the top 10 rap groups and you had an incredible list. I already know your top, I think I know your top 5. I don't know if I know your top 10 or not, but I definitely know your top 5 rappers, and I definitely know your number 1 of
Yes,
all
sir.
time, which I can't say that I've seen him in a performance of this anniversary, though he had to have been in
He,
more
yeah,
than
he,
one by far
he's
by
yeah,
already.
he's been in a few of them. Yeah.
We're talking about none other than Rakim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rakim. Yo,
Sir.
the greatness of Rakim. Tell everybody if they don't know, because we're gonna have some listeners that know of Rakim. We're gonna have some listeners that's like, who maybe I might have heard that name, but they don't really
Right.
know. Somebody like yourself who's so multifaceted in the arts. When you then look back at your home art form
Mm-hmm.
of rap and lyricism, the person that you put at the top of the mountain in your list is Rakim.
Yes, sir.
Tell him why.
Rakim is the reason that any MC in from his point on can be as intricate as they want, can be as deep as they want, could be as whatever, as creative as whatever as they want, because in that time frame when he came out, rap was very basic, very even the rhyme patterns were A B, right?
Yeah.
And the the lyrics that were infused were mainly braggadocio
Mhm.
or uh or party, right? And some were had a little depth to them, which goes back to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, which is
Yes,
actually
sir.
what I believe is what made way for Rakim to actually be in who he was.
Right.
They kind of paved the way so that that we would accept someone like a Rakim.
Gotcha.
Rakim infused science, mathematics,
Mm,
history,
yeah.
wordplay, confidence, swag, like and rhyme schemes and couplets that weren't even invented at the time, right? With going A B C A B B A, then bringing it back around to C, right? He rapped, and he once said he rapped like he was trying to mimic the way John Coltrane played the sax, right?
Played the sax, absolutely. He played
So
the sax, didn't he?
because he played the sax,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
I
he
don't
wanted
even think I
to
knew it was Coltrane. I thought he said he was trying to emulate the sax when he was playing it, but that's dope to know that he was actually looking at Coltrane playing it
at
because that's another
Coltrane.
level, obviously.
A whole new thing,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So when you put that in mind and you go back and you listen to them, you hear those melodies and those scats and those riffs of how Coltrane would play it, fast, slow, but very precise yet loose, right?
yeah.
And and one thing that a lot of people didn't know was he produced a lot of the music that he's ever rapped on from the beginning, from the inception of his
Mm,
career when he was with Eric B all the way up until his solo.
I
He
definitely didn't know
produced
that. I definitely didn't know
like
that.
he's like Scarface in a sense.
Yeah,
Scarface that produced most of his music. And that is I think also gave way to why he was so intricate and infused into those types of songs because he knew it from the inside out,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
That's a
So
deeper level.
yeah, brother.
That's a deeper level. And so the product that he put out, you rocked with. Do you remember your first uh Rakim verse that you memorized, your first Rakim song that maybe you knew from top to bottom? You ain't gotta rap it. I'm not gonna put you on the spot like that.
Right.
But do you remember
Uh,
what it was?
my it was Microphone Fiend was like
Microphone.
that was the
Man.
first one that I was like, oh man, this guy's different.
That's
This
that
is something
no,
different. Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Man, and
yeah.
when he was like uh uh um I try to grab the mic and say yes, y'all. They try to take it and say that I'm too small. Cool, because I
Cool.
don't get upset. I kick a hole in the
Pulling the
speaker,
speaker,
crap,
pull the
pull
plug
the
and I
plug, then not
jet.
jet. Like it's like his mindset was crazy. It's
Yeah, that was
like what,
different.
dude?
Like
He's like,
the confidence. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just about to say like another one of his lyrics where he was like, I begin to I can't think of it, but I begin to think and then I sink into the paper like I was ink. When I'm writing, I'm trapped in between the lines, and I escape when I finish the rhyme.
I got soul.
Like bro,
I got soul.
this was in '80s.
Uh,
This is what 80, 84, 85. Like that's it's
Like,
mind boggling. Now
yeah.
it might not seem so mind boggling in where we are in this day and age because we've taken what he's done and we've expanded and expounded. But even some of that is just still what he written is still even in this day and age is still the depths of it is
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Still
Still another level.
crazy.
Yeah. Rakim set a new standard by
Yes, sir.
far.
Yes, sir.
By far. Like that imagery is just different. Wasn't nobody thinking about the ink sinking into the paper. Like, come on. Like even and trying to use that as a metaphor of how into this rhyme I am that I'm just like the thing that I'm holding and come on, man. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Come on. That's
Yes, sir.
the intricacy of that is just different.
Yes, sir.
It's different. Um man, you brought up one last question I'm gonna have
Okay.
or conversation because I do think this is an interesting conversation. Um, I was in another episode and somehow uh, I don't think it was Grandmaster. I think it was Sugar Hill Gang popped up,
Mm-hmm.
came up. Um, so I mean, I guess this is a debate in hip hop overall, right?
Mhm.
As far as like who was the first,
Right.
like, who do you credit with being the first? And so you obviously have um Sugar Hill Gang as being the first mainstream hip hop group, the first
Mhm.
mainstream hip hop song
Yeah.
that got put out, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Hip hop to the hip hip hippity hip hip the hippity hip hippy hippity hop, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you got that. And so a lot of people say, like, yeah, they were the first.
Mhm.
But you also know that a lot of people know on the underground, number one, there were already other groups, but
Right.
more prevalent was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Yes, sir.
And we also know that I keep forgetting her name. I need to look it up because I'm doing her injustice. The lady that found or that started the Sugar Hill Gang
The Sugar Hill Record. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
Sugar
yeah,
Hill Records. I can't think of her
yeah.
name. But we know that she actually found Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five first,
Mm-hmm.
tried to approach them about, yo, y'all want to do, and they wasn't with it because
Right.
they like, nah. This art form ain't for that. Like, we know what
Yeah.
y'all do.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that. This is for the streets.
Yeah.
This for us. And so she went and assembled some guys that didn't even really know each other like that.
Uh-huh.
I think maybe a couple of them did, but it was just a random group of guys she put together
Mm-hmm.
and told them, hey, can you do what they did? Matter of fact, if I recall correctly, I feel like either Wonder Mike, I feel like they went to the Furious Five to get raps.
Yeah, well, yeah, they got raps from like some of those raps weren't theirs. Like they like
Right.
just blatantly took somebody's whole uh
Whole thing.
whole thing. Just whole
so
nutty.
so when you think about that, as we I guess discussed, even though we went over it kind of fast, but we discussed the 50-year anniversary of hip hop.
Yeah,
When you look back at that for yourself,
yeah,
who do you credit, as far as rap groups? And we ain't gonna go back to Cool Herc and actually the beginning of
right,
of the sound.
right.
But as far as that execution of lyricism, for what we know, if you only had to look at the Furious Five with Grandmaster and um, the Sugar Hill Gang, who do you give the credit to and why?
Well, there's only one real answer, and that's Soldier Boy because he did it first. So we got
Oh, you got me. You
no,
got me.
no. Uh, I gotta answer it like this. I wish I could just give simple answers a lot of times, but I can't. Um, I'm not built that way, I guess.
Right,
So
right, right.
I gotta give it to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five
Mhm.
because without them being as immaculate as they were, then you probably never have Sugar Hill Gang because they were that good that the inspiration like forced someone to say, I gotta do something with this. I gotta do something. I gotta make a move.
Yeah.
So because of that, now you go get uh everybody and make the Sugar Hill Gang,
Right.
which then forces hip hop onto the map.
Right.
It springs boom, now they're on the map. Now it becomes something viable,
Right.
right? So now I'm gonna go off a little bit, right?
Please.
So when I look at the foundation of hip hop, right?
Yeah.
We always have this battle because it's like the chicken or the egg, is the Sugar Hill Gang or the Furious Five,
Yeah.
as like these beginning of really getting into the thing. But look at hip hop and well look at what that represents, right?
Uh-huh.
You have the foundation of hip hop as Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five with music that's street. The sound is street. Is talking about reality and what's going on. That's that reality conscious gritty reporting of what's happening in reality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Facts.
Polar opposite, you have Sugar Hill Gang, including from everything from the name to the Chic record that they sampled, the breakbeat in that,
Yep.
to the what the music the song is about. This braggadocio, um, fluff. Some of it rhymes, some of it doesn't even rhyme. Some of it's on beef, sometimes some of it's not. But it's party atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
These are polar opposite songs, and they both belong at the foundation of hip hop.
I see where
So
you're going.
as you go throughout history
I see where you're
and
going.
you have the argument of what's real hip hop and what's not,
Yeah.
guess what? It's all hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that don't mean you like it all.
Right. You may
You,
not
you,
rock with
you
it.
like you might not rock with it, might not be your thing,
Right.
but from the foundation, it shows you that it's all hip hop and everything in between. Anything from Common to Diddy to Lil Uzi Vert to Kendrick Lamar to whatever, all of that Travis Scott, it all fits into hip hop because that's how wide hip hop was from the beginning, and it only grows from there.
And
And,
funny that you
and
say that because even the disliking one or the other is hip hop because back then they didn't like that. Like
boom,
they was looking at Sugar Hill Gang like, man, come on.
exactly.
And so you're right. The dislike for the other side, that's very relevant. The competition, that's very relevant.
Yep,
Even in the Furious Five being like, no. Now we gotta actually come out.
yep,
We gotta actually come out. Now that they taking what we do and they ain't
yep,
even doing it like we do it.
yep.
Now we gotta show the world. Sylvia Robinson.
Sylvia Robinson, there it
That's it.
is. Yes, sir. There you
That's
go.
it. Sylvia
Yeah.
Robinson. I give
Yes,
her
sir.
her flowers. My
Definitely,
apologies, Queen.
definitely,
My
definitely.
apologies. But yes, that is a very good point. That's a much deeper and even more relevant um point to make. Um it's almost like the conversation I was having about the comparison and or the choice in Tupac and Biggie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kung Fu Sheldon actually made the point that if they didn't have a beef, you'd never compare them.
Boom.
And that's the same thing with Sugar Hill Gang, and you'd never put Sugar Hill Gang and the Furious Five in the same conversation. It
No.
just happens to be they just occupy the same space and time. But
Yeah.
what your point about their differences, but how they still are relevant to that foundation, is just as relevant as Pac and Big, though they were polar opposites in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but their beef symbolized a future coming together
Yeah.
in a way that really wasn't there before. Like it wasn't beef before, but you wasn't getting a whole lot of East Coast, West Coast
Right.
together. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Bad Boy didn't have Ice Cube on the record. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right. Right. Right.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You didn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
the Fushnikins or Buster. They ain't have Too Short on the album. Like, you didn't really
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
back in the day. But then going forward, that beef was turned into we can't do this anymore because of what came out of it on the
Yeah.
negative side, then churned out a lot of togetherness
Yeah. Yeah.
and in that foundation for the East Coast, West Coast,
Yeah.
collaborations and whatnot, which is interesting.
Yeah.
As always, man, another interesting conversation. As always. And we close it out in the perfect way, talking about music,
Yes,
going
sir.
over the history of it. One more time before we get out of here, I want you to plug both the documentary and yourself and any other thing that you have going on for everybody listening and watching today.
Yes, sir. You can find me on all social media. EdVanzd, EdVanzd. It should be somewhere down there. I don't know.
Yep.
But the documentary, Target St. Louis, Volume 1, we're working on the distribution, so that'll be out soon. And whenever we have screenings, I'll definitely keep you posted. I have new music coming out. I got a couple of couple of projects that I'm very excited about that I'm working on, and
Nice.
we'll see what this C&E hitting.
There you
You know
go.
what I'm
There
saying?
you go.
See what that's hitting on. So yes, sir.
I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
we doing our thing. We trying.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
we just kind of out here. All right, my guys. Always a pleasure. Pod is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
Pod is good.
My man EdVanzd. I am Cashmere, California. Please subscribe to the channel. Follow us. We'll have more coming soon. Stay in touch with my man EdVanzd. And we will see y'all on the next one.